I'd like to call the December 17th, 2024 City Council meeting to order. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So, roll call, please.
Councilmember Fruin.
Here.
Councilmember Mohan.
Here.
Councilmember Wong.
Here.
Vice Mayor Moore.
Here.
Mayor Chow.
Here. Do we have any closed session report?
There's nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. And we don't have any ceremonial items today. Any postponement or orders of the day?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. And next then is the oral communications. City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the council and not on the agenda for discussion. The total time for oral communications will ordinarily be limited to 1 hour. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And if you are wishing to speak on this item, please have your request to speak card submitted in the next 9 minutes or have your hand raised remotely.
Thank you, Kirsten. So, City Attorney, I believe you have some legal guidance for the speakers.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind the public that item number 5 on the agenda is the appointment of council committee assignments. So if you have a comment that's directed to who should serve on which council committee, that would be the appropriate time to make it. If you have any other comments related to those committees, that would be appropriate under oral communications. So this would be the time for you to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. That means if you have comments on Stevens Creek Region Corridor or any other committees that City Council member attend, you should make that public comment now and turn in your card. So, City Clerk, could you call the first speaker?
Yes, Mayor, I have, just to let you know, I'm holding 9 requests to speak, and that is about 27 minutes, and there are currently no hands raised requesting to speak virtually. So our first 3 speakers are San R, followed by Frank, followed by Ken Bell. Welcome, San.
Good evening, Mayor Chow and council members. It gives me great pleasure to be the first speaker on your first regular city council meeting. I'm speaking today to request you to consider what can be done to downzone or swap density units from McClellan Road and Linda Vista Drive. I've been a close observer of what's happened over the past 2 years. It's apparent to me from the outside in viewing this that we did not have enough oversight. We had no agendized items at the Planning Commission or at City Council through the course of the 2 years that reviewed the housing element site list. And it turned out that we did rightly reject the Linda Vista Hills or the Vista Heights as a housing element site. However, we did not follow the same with McClellan Road and Linda Vista Drive. Both of those roads are heavy traffic zones for schools. McClellan Road is a single lane in each direction, and it has separated bike lanes. There is no space on McClellan for construction trucks. The last time we had truck traffic on McClellan, we lost a child, a Monta Vista child in 2018. And so it is clear that that site is not appropriate for housing element sites. Unfortunately, with not enough oversight, there were not enough checks and balances. I understand we have state laws that tie our hands. However, if we may at least have conversations, that will help. So can we have some neighborhood meetings with planning staff and with the city staff to try and see what may be possible, at least for sites where you don't have an application already, and for sites where you do have an application, is there any possibility of doing anything? The situation is what it is now. There's no point looking back and placing blame, but a number of people here would like you to see what can be done, at least with conversations. Let's start there. And secondly, I want to say, as you look ahead, I want to wish all of you the best of deliberations, but also the best of relationship building with all your stakeholders. I hope we will have positive relationships with staff. I'm looking forward to all parties working with the best of intent, treating each other like you would like to be treated, but also being thoughtful about the agenda. A year goes by fast, like erstwhile Mayor Mohan would say, and you need to make the most of the year, and we are looking forward to improvements, and we are hoping that this will be a council that works for residents and that does not spend on consultant studies and more wasted projects that are just funding bike lanes and lane reductions that are heavily unpopular with residents. We are also hoping that you're going to look at feedback you get across the city more broadly than just the few people that write in, including myself, because the ones that show up here are a small subset of what you see in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, San. Next we have Frank, followed by Ken Bell, followed by Jennifer Griffin.
Thank you. My name is Frank. I live on Bonnie Drive. And first off, congratulations to a new city council and a new mayor and a vice mayor. So today I want to bring your attention to one unfair matter, that is the zoning of 2865 McClellan from R1 to R3. It is unfair. It was done behind people's back and without people's knowledge as residents, okay? So I have personally talked to 60 plus households in the immediate neighborhood, and none of us knew that was going on, okay? Everything was done in a black box, and it was approved by the prior council. I don't know how that was done, okay? And people will say, oh, it went through a public process and it was approved. But what public process was it when everybody in the neighborhood wasn't even aware of this thing? And how, as a city council, right, you're publicly elected, how is that possible for you to approve something where clearly the neighbor says, no, we don't want this? What is the true representation of you guys to the people, okay? So I would say the prior council utterly failed all the residents in the neighborhood, okay? Now, to this council, I want you to set aside your own ideology, your own agenda, whatever special interest group that is involved, okay? Truly represent the people. Put people's mind, put people's willing front and center in all of your decision-making process. Make it public. Let people know what the hell is going on, okay? Don't hide it. And let's revisit, relook at this thing, okay? Let's reassess this thing. And let's hear what people are saying about this. Let's hear it out, okay? And I want this thing to be on your agenda. Let's talk about it, okay? And I want to correct the wrong of upzoning this thing from R1 to R3. Again, congratulations, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Frank. Next we have Ken Bell, followed by Jennifer Griffin, followed by Frank Chu. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Chow, Council, City staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ken Bell. I'm block lead on McClellan Road for a small segment of McClellan Road, and I'm neighborhood watch coordinator for the same. So subject is same as the previous two. So the upzone and the subsequent rezone for the 27 townhome development at 20865 McClellan Road. So the property was upzoned from R1 to R3 without adequate resident notification, as you've heard, and most of the people in the area really feel betrayed, and there's a little bit of mistrust for city officials and the overall process at this time. So we need to kind of backtrack and kind of fix that with everybody. So we respectfully request that an agenda item to a future city council meeting so residents can address concerns. We request that any review of any development applications for that said property be put on hold until residents can address this with you. And then we have many concerns with this development. You've heard a little bit about traffic, neighborhood character. We think there's other items that we want to bring to your attention once it's agenda. So we ultimately want city planning team and council to explore other options, including the original intent to maintain as R1 zone and build the 4 single-family homes as previously socialized with the residents in the area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ken. Next, we have Jennifer Griffin, followed by Frank Chu, followed by Sue Hauser. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, City Council. Happy holidays to staff and the council. Congratulations on new appointments. I just wanted to ask a question from the city attorney because I was a little bit confused. If I wanted to talk about tomorrow there's a Stevens Creek Corridor Advisory Committee meeting from 10 to 12 in City of Santa Clara, should I talk about that now or during number 5?
Yeah, you should talk about that now unless you're concerned about who will serve on that committee.
Okay, so if I wanted to suggest someone to serve on the committee, should I talk about it now or in 5?
In 5, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, I can do that. I'm not taking a final in school. Okay, so as I have been attending most of the Stevens Creek Boulevard Corridor steering committee meetings, and there's a public citizen advisory committee meeting. I've been going to those for the last 2 years. They've been extremely enlightening. I have lived along the Stevens Creek corridor for many, many years, and I used to take the 23 bus to San Jose State up and down it several hours a week when I was a student at San Jose State. And I am very, very concerned about what happens on the corridor. It's a very, very important area. Lots of cross traffic going from cities at one end to the other. It also carries cars and traffic from Winchester, Saratoga Avenue, et cetera, across. It's not just our corridor, it belongs to other cities, and there's other buses, there's cars, ambulances, et cetera. And I'm really, really concerned about a push to have one lane on each side of Stevens Creek Boulevard be reduced to a bus lane. This has come up in probably just the last meeting or two, September 6th. I heard virtually nothing about it from anyone at the meetings all last summer, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I'm assuming it is a viewpoint that some people have, but I never saw a lot of those people at the meetings. And as far as I'm concerned, I, as a member of the public, spend a lot of time in public meetings, and I expect people that have opinions about what happens on the corridor need to come in on Zoom and attend the meetings, do the time, or sit in the chair, in the uncomfortable chairs, and do your time there. Because then people see you, they understand who you are, they know where you're coming from. My husband says it's very dangerous to close a lane on each side of Stevens Creek. There's too much traffic. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we have Frank Chu, followed by Sue Hauser, followed by Vicky. Welcome, Frank.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Chu. I'm going to talk about a different topic. I'm here tonight to share my personal perspective on how pickleball has transformed our community and to advocate for making the existing 8 pickleball courts permanent. For over 35 years, my family has enjoyed Memorial Park, whether for evening strolls, Shakespeare in the Park, tossing a football around, or simply spending hours on the tennis courts. Even those pesky geese that once roamed the pond when they still had water have helped to create cherished memories. For decades, Memorial Park was a place filled with fun, but it always felt like just a park until something changed. Over the past year, the 8 pickleball courts and the bleachers next to Court 1 have sparked a transformation. What began as a simple pastime has become a community phenomenon, reshaping how many of us connect with each other and with the park itself. At the heart of this change is the Cupertino pickleball community. On any given day, weather permitting, you'll find hundreds of people playing pickleball there. It is not uncommon to see more than 80 people gather at the bleachers, socializing and sharing stories. What is even more remarkable is that this group is incredibly diverse, made up of people from different social, economic, and ethnic backgrounds. And yet, we have come together not just to play, but to form lasting friendships. I no longer see Memorial Park as just a park. It is now a place where I go to see my friends. To borrow the tagline from an old TV show, it has become a place where everybody knows your name. There are many reasons why Memorial Park has become a mecca for pickleball, but I believe the park's uniquely large and comfortable bleachers are a key factor. They created a space for people to gather, relax, and build connections outside the game itself. So today, I'm asking for your continued support of this vibrant, rapidly growing community, now nearly 1,000 strong, who share a deep passion for the sport and the bonds it fosters. Please help us by supporting the painting of pickleball lines on Court 1 and by making the existing 8 pickleball courts permanent without the temporary status. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank. Next we have Sue Hauser, followed by Vicky, followed by Debbie. Welcome.
Good evening, Council, and congratulations to our new members. My name's Sue Hauser. I'm a longtime resident of Cupertino and a member of the Sunnyvale Cupertino Association of University Women. I'm here with Emily, and Emily is going to talk to you this evening.
Mayor Chow, City Council, City staff, and members of the community, I'm here to invite you and ask you to save the date of Saturday, January 25th. I'm part of the Sunnyvale Cupertino AAUW group, and you're each receiving a flyer about a program that we are having. It's called the Multi-Generational Climate Change Forum. We are going to have a afternoon program, and we are going to have members from the Elders Climate Action and members from the Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action do a panel about the why and what of climate change, but most importantly, how are we going to meet the challenge of climate change? And there will be, we are looking for youth to come, we're looking for adults to come, elder people, so that we can have a conversation about this. You will receive a formal invitation, but I'm asking you to save the date. You are elected officials, you make the decisions. And as we all meet the challenge of climate change, you're going to have a spot in making those decisions. So it's going to be at the Sunnyvale Presbyterian Church Fellowship Hall. You'll receive more information soon, but I hope that we will see you there representing the community of Cupertino. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue and Emily. Next we have Vicky, followed by Debbie, followed by Simon Chen. Welcome, Vicky.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to request that the City Council add an agenda item to the next City Council meeting regarding the concerns of the neighborhoods affected by the proposed 27-unit townhome project at 20865 McCullen Road. I appreciate this opportunity to speak about this important issue my neighborhood now faces. I have lived in Cupertino most of my life. I grew up here. And the reason I chose Cupertino to settle in was because of the suburban single-family home neighborhoods. I've lived in San Francisco for a short while, and after that, I knew I didn't want to raise my family there, and I didn't want to live amongst dense, tall housing. And now that I've started my own family here in Cupertino, the city wants to allow 3-story townhomes to be built up next to our 1- and 2-story homes. I only found out about this development maybe less than a month ago, and I had no idea the land had been rezoned in 2022 and placed under the housing element. We were never notified that a rezoning was happening, and why was there no transparency? It appears to me that during that time we were deliberately left in the dark, while at the same time the current landowners met with us to discuss his plans to build 4 single-family homes. So why would we even look into to see if the land had been rezoned when they were telling us there was going to be single-family homes there? Something fell through the cracks, and maybe there were hopes our neighborhood would just stay silent, and I'm here to say we won't. We were never given the opportunity to express our severe objection to installing blocks of 3-story buildings in the middle of our single-family home neighborhood. I'm all for expanding housing and providing affordable homes, but it's not appropriate to build a townhome subdivision in the middle of a single-family home neighborhood on an already congested and narrow road. Again, please add McClellan 2065 zoning and neighborhood concerns to your next meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Next, we have Debbie, followed by Simon Chen, followed by Lisa Warren. Welcome, Debbie.
Good evening, City Council members. And first of all, I want to congratulate the newly elected Ray and Kitty. The residents of Cupertino has spoken, and then we desperately hope that under the new City Council's leadership, Cupertino can once again be the resident focused. My name's Debbie, and then I live right beside the proposed high-density project on 20865 McClellan Road. Just to put things in perspective, everyone has seen this. Everyone has seen the new Arroyo Village at Stevens Creek and 85. Okay, that project has the same density as the proposed 20865 McClellan Road. So I would like to ask every one of the city council member, how would you feel if one day you were told that the city, one day you were told that the city allows someone to build this gigantic townhome right at your backyard without any prior communication? No consultation, no communication, nothing. Okay, all of us were in shock when we realized that the parcel was rezoned from R1 to R3 back in 2022. Nobody knew. I pushed my kid around the block to North Venta Vista to the Joliman area, and in our Bonnie Drive area, nobody knew. Yes, you would say that, yes, we've been told that, yes, there were notifications, yes, there was newsletters, yes, there was there's newsletter and it would publish news on in the newspapers. So how is this process even valid when the city intentionally avoided communication with the impacted residents? This is a serious oversight by the city. The process is flawed, and we residents should not be the one to be imposed on a project that none of us want. So here I am to implore you guys to reconsider the planning zoning of this 20865 McClellan Road and to revisit this process and put this back in the agenda to see what options are out there, because none of us want this. And we are here, everyone is here together to tell you guys none of us want this. And then the process is flawed. Something has to be done for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Next we have Simon Chen, followed by Lisa Warren, followed by Rhoda Fry. Welcome, Simon.
Good evening, newly elected city members and Mayor Chow. Congratulations and happy holidays. My name is Simon Chen. I'm the resident on Bonnie Drive, and I found it quite ironic that there was a public hearing last week at the same time about the rezoning of 20865 McKinnon Road from R3 to R3/TH. And the city staff classified that as a typo to fix the typo. And then, so it's interesting that there's a public hearing to fix the typo, but there's never be a public hearing or notification when the property was upzoning from R1 to R3, which has bigger impact. The planning committee chair, David Thang, reiterate the process was there, and then the information was there. But I would like to ask the question, if the city stand the same measure to communicate your own resident, how come we receive a letter to fix the typo? There is a post on at the property right now to fix the typo, but we never receive any letter notification or same type of communication to notify there's a rezoning from R1 to R3. It doesn't make any logical sense. So I'm here to request the city council members, the newly elected, to really hear your residents' voice and then to put into investigation of the whole rezoning process and then find a way, options, let us know how to change or actually downgrade the McKinnon 20865 McKinnon Road from R3, which it shouldn't be, to R1, which it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Next we have Lisa Warren, followed by Rhoda Fry.
Okay, I
Welcome,
hope I'm getting
Lisa.
this right about the committee thing. So what I'm going to say now is that I strongly believe that the city should be resurrecting the Economic Development Committee that was this close to being put in place and we badly need. So I'm hoping in the future, and I think there's also potential need for additional committees and commissions moving forward other than the Economic Development Committee. So I hope that discussion happens sometime very soon. I know it can't be on tonight's assignments because they don't exist yet, but let's at least talk about it. And I believe there's a typo that maybe has already been fixed on the draft assignment list, where under audit committee for Ray Wong, excuse me, it says audit instead of alternate under the audit committee. So that probably needs to be fixed, unless I'm wrong. Also, it came up once or twice, I think, I know once, maybe twice, during a meeting by people on the dais, person or people on the dais, the use of cell phones during meetings by council members and staff. And there was never really any discussion about it publicly. I would ask, and I believe it's really important to understand and have a policy for cell phone use up on the dais during meetings. And because I've personally seen, well, anyway, I just think that should be considered, please. And if you need to have what our son's second grade teacher used to call a June box, where you show up with something you're not supposed to have in class, she would let them know it will be taken away and put in the June box. And in June, when you get out of school, you will get it back. Anyway, something similar, perhaps, and staff as well. So I think it's a good time to talk about this. The city's website, I saw, has some changes to it. And they're probably great changes. I haven't had time to maneuver them yet. But I've asked more than once in the past, because of the lack of transparency and the feeling that a lot of the people in this room are having, they never knew anything, could potentially be limited if there was a workshop or a tutorial that people can watch online of actually how to walk through everything on the website and find what you're looking for. Because people have been doing it for decades, still go sideways trying to find things because things change, they're not put in the right place, what have you. And I think the public needs to be educated.
Thank you, Lisa. That is your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Rhoda Fry, followed by Nathaniel Renta. Welcome, Rhoda.
Hi, good evening, council members. I'd like to echo many of the things that Lisa said, and particularly with respect to the website. All of a sudden I do a search on the web and it comes up with broken links. So I don't know whether that's fixable at this point, but it's very discouraging because I can't find things that I'm looking for. And I think that having a training, maybe just a video training that people could watch over time or even in person, would be really great, but certainly to have it recorded so people can look at it. Also, I agree with getting an economic development committee together. We've got a lot of really bright minds in the city, and I'm sure that people would be willing to serve on that and improve our economic development. Look, you know, we've had this, a number of people talk about what the size of the deficit was. Really, we're looking at, having looked at the past sales tax income, you know, we're looking at being down around $15 to $17 million a year. That's a lot. And you know what, we're not going to recoup it. You'd have to have, you know, probably an IKEA, a Costco, and maybe double or triple them. I don't know. It's just not feasible. You can just do back of the envelope calculations. We're not going to be able to recoup that sales tax. So let's get real. It ain't going to happen. It also means in the past we were saving money at the time. So, you know, there's places we can economize, which takes me to the next part is that I'm still seeing quite a bit of waste, particularly in the accounts payable. So that's worrisome. Excuse me. So let's bring back the economic development committee. Also, let's beef up or re-beef up, bring back the audit committee. The audit committee, the responsibilities are very small. It's an opportunity in the audit committee to do a deep dive and see how we can make our city better, right? That's what it's about. But the real reason I was coming here tonight, which I'll get to, I was distracted by Lisa's really very important comments, is like, look, we've got a lot of consternation here about both projects that were approved in the housing element and also potential projects that are coming on board with the builder's remedy. And I'd like to see a study session to kind of explain to the public, how does this go through? Is CEQA required? What is going on with traffic? What about, you know, for public safety? You know, you've got a lot of people in the area who've lost their fire insurance. People can't, you know, already McClellan is very, very impacted. So we're talking about multiple potential housing projects there, and you know, what kind of studies are going to be done to make sure that our residents are safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. Next we have Nathaniel I think it's Rainia, and then Harry Neal. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Let's see if I can figure this out. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, council members. I come to you not as a resident of Cupertino, but rather as one of Sunnyvale. For you, Cupertino is a home. For me, it's a destination. I'm presently a student at De Anza College trying to finish up my undergraduate degree to keep a promise to myself. And I'd like to comment on the Stevens Creek corridor improvements. Of note, there is a wealth of research available concerning the fatality involving cars and kids. Second only to firearms. So just sit with that for just a moment. Second only to firearms, cars are the biggest killer of kids in the United States. So with that in mind, I would like to advocate for a reduction in the amount of lanes on Stevens Creek Boulevard, especially around Stelling and Stevens Creek where De Anza College is, where I have been hit a couple of times. Of particular note too, roads, and your traffic engineers can back this up, can only really handle 2,000 cars per hour per lane. The biggest bottlenecks are going to be the intersections on the road itself. So stoplights, things of that nature, roundabouts maybe, right? So keep that in mind. And in addition to that, because of the comments about finances and being able to pay for things, 1 mile of road, from the figures that I've been sort of able to put together from Sacramento and elsewhere in the state, it's $2 to $5 million per mile of road to repave. So in the interest of fiscal responsibility, maybe that's one thing to keep in mind as well. Heavy vehicles being what they are, will eat up the road a lot more, so maybe reducing the amount of lanes you have to maintain will be something to keep in mind for fiscal responsibility's sake. I would like to drive and spend money in Cupertino a lot more, but as it stands with the traffic being what it is, I can't come down from Sunnyvale conveniently enough to spend money in your wonderful town. I'd like to spend money here to bolster up your sales tax. Unfortunately, it's just not practical for me. So I yield my time. Also, I would like to retract my speaker card for item 5.
I saw that. Thank you. Thank you, Nathaniel. Next, we have Harry Neal. Welcome, Harry.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Harry Neal. I am a local transit advocate, currently a student at De Anza College, former resident of this city for 17 years. I still spend much of my time in this city visiting friends, again, attending my school, and I shop in this city. I spend time at parks in this city. I, as the kids say, vibe in this city. I very much consider myself a member of this community, even if my address does not say Cupertino on it anymore. I am extremely, extremely concerned by some of the rhetoric that I've seen regarding encouraging the city to pull out of the Stevens Creek Corridor project. Some of the rhetoric has emphasized the importance of automobile traffic. I would note that if anyone here has a background in urban planning, there is something called the Downs-Thompson paradox, which states that car traffic will continue to get worse unless and until there is a realistic alternative to driving. This is not based on theory. This is not developed in a vacuum. This is real observation of real-world cities of all different development types, suburban car-centric like Cupertino, ultra-dense like New York, everything in between. The reality of transportation is that traffic will not improve unless there is a realistic alternative to driving. That is why we must do what we can to make sure that the existing transit is as good as it can be, unless and until we can build something better, like in 25 years for any planned high-capacity transit. It is imperative that we improve what we can today, not only for the sake of traffic, but also because of safety concerns, as the previous speaker noted. Having multiple wide lanes encourages people to drive fast, regardless of whether you are a good or bad driver. It's just part of human psychology. This has also been measured. This is not theory, this is observation. Wide lanes and multiple lanes encourages you to drive fast because driving is a subconscious activity. It is not one where you are constantly paying attention. We're just not built for that as a species. So it is very, very important for the safety of everyone on this corridor, on the Stevens Creek corridor, everyone, to be safe. Dedicated bus lanes not only speed up transit and make sure that transit is not a second-class citizen experience the way it is today, it also means that we will be improving safety through the reduction of visual space. Please, don't make the wrong decision. Don't retract Cupertino from the Stevens Creek Corridor project. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And next we have two members of the public requesting to speak virtually, Ram Sripathi and Seema Linskog. Welcome, Ram.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity to talk to the council, and also congratulations to the newly elected mayor, vice mayor, and the elected members. I have two issues here that I'd like to bring about. One is 20865 McClellan Road. I'm a resident on 2086. I'm a resident of McClellan Road for many, many years now. And this whole project about rezoning from R1 to R3 to R3TH has been a surprise to us. In fact, I went through all the newsletters starting from 2020, and I don't see any mention of the upzoning or any change to that particular residence on McClellan Road. So it seems like as if the city has not actually done its due diligence of informing the neighborhood of this change, this major change, and it's already crowded. The road with has lost a lane. So it's actually very hard to travel on the lane for at least like 5-6 hours during the day. So I really implore the city to reconsider downzoning putting it back on the agenda so that you can downzone it back to R1, which would make it safer and also keep the characteristic of the neighborhood to remain at R1. And then I've also seen that in the past we've received letters from the city about this, but this time there's been no mailer. The second issue is the Stevens Creek corridor. I think we should. My vote is to not lose any lanes because the Stevens Creek has a lot of businesses and it serves a lot of Cupertino residents. And I think the city's first, the first priority should be its own citizens, its own residents. They should consider their needs, and it's also close to the freeway. So basically, it's a major artery for anybody coming in, going out. Then what's the point? So that's my second thing. And the third one is basically to improve communication with residents. If there are any major decisions that are taken, they should be discussed with the residents, because off late I find that the residents are the last to find out about anything. McClellan Road has been, we have had this multiple times. The bike lane was a surprise to us. Now this to the housing projects. So my request is to improve the communication between city and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Next we have Seema Lenskog. Welcome, Seema.
Hi there. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. A couple of things. One is I agree with Peggy Griffin, surprisingly, that more residents should attend the Stevens Creek Corridor Vision Study and participate and give their input as residents of Cupertino. It's really important in the process to hear from residents from all three cities. So I encourage people to get involved in the process. I was happy to see that Councilmember Ray Wang was appointed to represent the city on the committee. I hope that means that we are planning to stay involved in the process. And as I mentioned in my email, you either have a seat at the table or you are on the menu. And I hope that for us as a city, we keep our seat at the table and we keep a chance to participate and influence the outcome. I also want to mention there's a lot of misinformation and outrage building over, some incorrect information being given to residents. City of Cupertino already has bike lanes, so there's no new bike lanes being added on Stevens Creek for the city of Cupertino. They would get added in Santa Clara and San Jose. Cupertino also has a resolution that would prevent any lane reductions from happening, and I believe the other two cities might have similar resolutions as well. So there definitely seems to be a lot of misrepresentation happening, and I would encourage residents to do their own homework and take with a grain of salt what some of the residents here, the information they've been given. Thank you for your time and for everything you do for the city.
Thank you, Seema. And Mayor, that concludes the request to speak for this item.
Thank you, Kirsten. Next, it's a consent agenda. Oh, first of all, City Attorney, if it's appropriate, I wonder if you can answer why there was how the notification process is different when we do citywide upzoning versus upzoning of only one site.
Yeah, I can answer that question briefly and generally, is that it, depending on the number of properties are affected, there will either be notice by mail or notice by publication. For citywide rezoning, such as the housing element, typically sufficient numbers of properties are affected, and so there is typically notice by publication. And I think that the theory behind that is that something like the housing element, the intent is that that the impact is spread widely throughout the city, so it's not just one property or set of properties or neighborhood that feels the impact. And so there was of course a lot of opportunities for public participation around the housing element and notice of that process, but there was not individual notice to properties when the housing element rezoning took place.
Yeah, thank you. And could you please also remind us again, the council members usually cannot comment on any issue brought up during public comment, but we can provide some brief questions to the staff. Could you clarify what's appropriate?
Yeah, So a brief comment, for example, directing a member of the public to speak with staff is an appropriate response to public comment, or a brief request to staff to follow up on a question that a council member might have. But generally, items that are not on the agenda are not subject to discussion by the council.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is consent calendar, items 1 to 4. I don't believe anyone has pulled any item.
That is correct, Mayor. I have not received a request to pull any items for discussion.
So, and we do public comment first?
Yes, Mayor. I have a request from Rhoda Fry to speak on items 3 and 4. Anyone else wishing to provide comments, please submit a request to speak card or use the raised hand feature to speak virtually. Welcome, Rhoda.
Hi, regarding items 3 and 4, I continue to be concerned about the expenses shown in the accounts payable. It just doesn't seem like we're budgeting ourselves. When we look at the budget, it looks like we're spending down the money that we had in reserves, and then after 10 years, we don't know where we're going. And so if we don't have the money, if the money runs out, it's run out. We need to be earning interest on it, and I really want us to watch our dollars and our cents. So I'm really concerned. I do appreciate having the accounts payable because it provides the community with transparency. And that said, I haven't seen any payments for BAZ, B-A-Z, and I understand that a reserve account had been made to pay BAZ, but when I think about accounts payable, that's money that's owed, not money that's already been paid. So that money never kind of showed up in accounts payable over the last few months, and I understand it will be paid, and maybe it has been, but I think it needs to be shown in accounts payable. The second thing is regarding the council meetings being moved from Tuesdays to other days. Because if there's a weekend, or actually a long weekend before a holiday, then the meeting would be moved. And, I think it's really nice to have the meetings on Tuesdays. We know that it's every Tuesday. We have that's the tradition. And, the last couple of years, things have been mixed up, and it keeps the public from participating, because we expect the meetings to be on Tuesdays. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson here, because I've been in Cupertino for over 40 years. So way back when, council meetings used to be on Mondays, and they got changed to Tuesdays. And the reason that it was changed to Tuesdays was because Councilmember Sandy James said, you know what, Mondays messes up with Monday Night Football. So everybody could watch Monday Night Football and also participate in city council meetings. They were moved to Tuesday. So, for all these years, we had meetings on Monday, and it worked. It just seems like this the reinvention of the wheel has been a challenging, because sometimes there's other meetings that do impact Cupertino, such as the sanitary district, and they have meetings on Wednesdays. So if we push a meeting off to Wednesday, and okay, so I haven't checked the 2025 calendar yet, but there have been conflicts in the past because Cupertino moved the meeting to Wednesday at the same time we had sanitary district. And those meetings are not recorded. So it even makes it more difficult to be in two places at once. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda. And next we have Lisa Warren. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. So my comment is actually on item 4 also, and it's the same thing. I hope that there's some kind of open discussion about the switching Tuesday meetings to Wednesdays after holiday week, or when Mondays are not work days. As Rhoda said, I wish that we could at least hear the rationale for it and see who agrees with it and who does not, instead of it having it just be consent. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Mayor, no additional requests to speak on this item?
Thank you. Actually, I think it's an oversight on my part. I would have liked to pull item 4, but then I thought it was an action item. So, City Attorney, what options do I have now if I would like to pull it or postpone it?
A consent item can be pulled by a majority vote of council, and it will be placed after the action calendar to be heard, or it can also be tabled by a majority vote of council.
So I can still pull it with a motion?
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to pull item 4 to be placed. I think we can discuss it right before the action calendar. Could I have a second?
Moore, second.
Thank you. City Clerk, let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
So we vote on item 1, 2, 3 first. May I have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
So for and second. And so let's vote.
Councilmember Wong, please vote with your light. Thank you.
Yeah, I voted.
Didn't quite
you need
register.
to press.
Oh, abstain.
Oh, thank
Doesn't
you.
work. Okay.
The motion carries with Wong abstaining.
Thank you. We don't have any public hearings, so next we would hear item number 4. Since we already heard public comment, I think we can go for council comments. First, I'd like to make a comment on how we would allocate time for any deliberation. I really like the time limit that Mayor Darcy Paul has established. That really helps us to be more concise and to the point when we make a comment. And I also like the way he had done is where we encourage council members who have more remaining time to cede the time to other council members who might have more to say. This shows a collaborative spirit that we would like to hear from each other, especially the ones who have spent more time, maybe have more things to ask or say. So that's the kind of process I'd like to adopt. And the city attorney has graciously offered to help me keep track of the time. So thank you for that, city attorney. Now, is there any, do I have a staff report?
We do have a written staff report in the packet, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. Staff presentation.
No,
so
we don't, I'm sorry.
Any council member would like to ask some questions? Then I have some question. I think we have a question from member of the public about the rationale to that we have to move council meeting to Wednesday when Monday is a holiday.
Yes, Mayor, if I may, I can answer those questions.
Oh.
So the rationale is that establishing these dates helps the council and staff to assist with advanced planning and scheduling of city business. There are So in general, the requested proposed schedule follows the regular council meeting schedule of first and third Tuesdays. However, there are 3 meetings that immediately follow a federal holiday where the city hall is shut down. So staff is requesting an additional day to move that regularly scheduled meeting to the following Wednesday. And that is partly to allow the council time to review the agenda packet, but also quite often council members have questions on the agenda items, and staff needs time to research those answers and provide those answers to staff and to the public. There is a request to cancel those regular dates and schedule special meeting dates for February 18, April 1, and September 2nd. Additionally, there is a council recess that's scheduled per the Cupertino Council Procedures Manual, and that is for those 2 meetings that are in August, beginning the first Tuesday in August and ending the Tuesday following the week of Labor Day. And then all the way into 2026, staff is requesting the first meeting in January, which is January 6, 2026, be canceled because that immediately follows a holiday shutdown, whereas the packet would be required to be produced over that shutdown. So staff would have to come in and produce that packet. And then finally, if council wishes, there is another holiday, January 20th, 2026, that immediately precedes a regular meeting. So the request is to schedule a special meeting that following immediately the next following Wednesday for January 21, 2026. And if you like, I can also show the requested calendar, proposed calendar, if that's helpful.
I think it's okay. So my understanding is we actually had a really good process that was introduced by City Manager Pamela Wood to allow council members to submit questions by 10 o'clock on Monday if the council meeting were on Tuesday and Monday is not a holiday. And then the staff would provide written answers to those questions by end of day on Monday. That has been really helpful. And if questions are submitted by Tuesday, 10 o'clock, staff would provide answers by 4 p.m., I think, on Tuesday. Those are new process that's being adopted. And it's really helpful to see written answers in supplemental reports. I think because of that, also, when Monday is a holiday, it's harder for it's impossible for staff to answer. However, there are many cities who have their city council meeting on Tuesday. You have school board meeting that's on Tuesday also. I don't think anyone is moving them around. So I would like to ask if we do, I think the council member and the staff should adjust our work time so that we submit questions earlier. Maybe the deadline should be Friday at 10 when Monday is a holiday. And then the staff would then provide supplemental report end of the day on Friday. And of course, we don't expect the staff to answer any questions during the weekend, as if they don't exist. Then that way we can keep the council meeting on Tuesday, but still would be able to provide question and answers. Would that work out? It's for council members, just for 3 days, we need to remember to provide our questions ahead by Friday morning. Would that work?
So Mayor, you're basically saying that we just move up the day we ask the questions. That doesn't impact staff time, and we can proceed with the Tuesday meeting.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Just want to clarify, that's what you're asking.
So, city manager, would this work with the staff?
We're here to support council.
And then I don't want to invade into any staff's weekend plan. So this should not affect their weekend plan for a long weekend, especially.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Mayor, if
Is
I
that a
may.
motion on the table? Sorry.
No motion yet.
Okay, no motion.
So,
All right.
and I would like to hear from fellow council members. Any comment? Yeah.
I think my light is on.
So yeah, Councilmember Mohan. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So just for clarification, Madam City Clerk, we're talking about what, 4 days in a year? Where it gets postponed from Tuesdays to Wednesdays?
There are 3 holidays that conflict with regular.
So we're talking
council
about
meetings.
3 postponements?
Yes, in 2025.
Okay.
Correct.
I mean, just from my my personal opinion is that's not a huge imposition on anyone to keep it on Wednesday. People travel on weekends and long weekends especially. I just wanted to make the point that we're not talking about too many occasions where we move it from Tuesday to Wednesday. We're talking about 3 exactly.
Anyone else would like to comment? Councilmember, Vice Mayor Moore.
I agree with Councilmember Mohan. And I just also want to clarify that we have the same items as the regular meeting when we move to a special meeting. And I want to further clarify it because the staff report wasn't perfectly clear on this, because they say, for example, allowing time for oral communications. I want to make sure that it's understood that the rescheduled regular meetings due to the holidays, as outlined in Resolution 24-121, shall retain every regular meeting agenda item so that we don't miss out on the manager's report or future agenda items. So I wasn't sure, reading the staff report, if those are going to automatically be retained or not. So I want to make sure about that.
Mayor,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, the all special meeting agendas would include the regular item of business as per the normal regular meetings agendas.
Thank you.
And especially public comments on non-agenda item, right? Because that item usually is not there for special meetings.
Yes, the meetings that would be moved would include oral communications, allowing time for oral communications, and all other regular headers.
Thank you. Councilmember Fruin?
Just a few quick points. So I agree with Vice Mayor Moore and Councilmember Mohan on this topic, but for slightly different reasons. One is simply that, in my experience, we get a great many comments that come through email over the weekend and on Mondays. And given that, I would want us to have the ability to get staff responses for them and so forth, rather than having an unproductive meeting on a Tuesday just because we're trying to get it done on a Tuesday seems like a problem to me. As far as other jurisdictions, I obviously haven't undertaken any kind of exhaustive research on the matter with other places in the county. However, I will say that San Jose just outright cancels a meeting if it follows a holiday. So it is certainly done in other places. What I would suggest instead is that we perhaps look at the possibility of permanently moving the council meeting to Wednesday in the future. That might actually be a better solution, then we don't have to have this discussion again.
Thank you. I think I proposed that last year, and it works better with my work schedule. But my understanding is there are some regional meetings that's usually on Wednesday. City Manager, do you have some information on regional meetings that?
I believe so. There are some, but I don't have a comprehensive list right now. But I think Silicon Valley Clean Energy meets on a Wednesday, and there are certain school district and others. I'm sorry, I don't have that list right now.
Yeah, I'll note that the Silicon Valley Clean Energy meets on the second Wednesday of the month, so it would not conflict.
Oh, okay. Our school, the high school board does meet on the same day as city council meeting, so that as a result, we cannot attend their meeting, they cannot attend us. So the advantage of moving to Wednesday is we won't conflict with high school meeting. But I know the West RWRC Recycle and Waste Reduction Committee, which I sit on, usually meets Wednesday, but that's I think it's usually the last week of the month, so maybe that doesn't conflict either. Should Vice Mayor Moore, please.
I think since we are going to be looking at the work program moving forward, that could be something that you consider having a study on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So yeah, maybe we can adopt the calendar as it is now and look into possible transition to Wednesday council meeting.
If you want to make that a motion, I will second it.
Okay, I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Could you repeat that, please? I was not sure.
Oh, so approve the staff recommendation, and we will consider possible transition to Wednesday regular meeting, as that will be a future agenda item. Yeah. So let's vote.
Mayor, really quickly, I just would like to amend a previous statement that I made. So there's actually 4 meetings that are being moved. However, the meeting in January has already been approved by the previous council. So I'm only asking council to consider and approve 3 meeting cancellations and special meetings being added in their place.
So that's including the January meeting in 2026?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The amended motion carries unanimously.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're available. I did ask.
They're available. I think we're waiting to go to the action calendar item, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Next is item 5, appointment of the 2025 council committee assignments. So yeah, I think today I'm not logged into the Zoom meeting, so I couldn't share my screen now. So City Clerk, could you please share maybe the email that I sent to on this item?
The proposed draft list, Mayor?
The proposed draft.
Let me see if I can make it large enough.
So on this proposed draft, I made some changes since there are 2 council members actually sit on audit committee. So the previous assignment was 2 primary. I added an alternate in case anyone couldn't attend. And then for the school partnership committee, since the the COSD, they sent 2 board members. So I thought it's better to just appoint 2 primaries and 1 alternate. And for the sister city committees, it doesn't have a regular meeting, but I would like to appoint 2 primaries so that there are 2 points of contact for sister cities rather than just 1. The reason also is going forward, I would like the sister cities to not use any city staff time without council approval. Since city staff time is precious, a lot of time they couldn't even work on things the council collectively decide we need to do. Therefore, sister cities committee are encouraged to reach out to the 2 council members for their any need, and if they need any escort to visit city facilities, encourage them to do that. And City Clerk, could you also share the table that I made in my email?
Okay, just give me a moment. I will. I'll have to search for that. Let me just stop sharing my screen for a moment while I look for that. Mayor, I may need to take a break to look for that. If we could.
Oh.
Well, let me. Oh, okay. I found it. Never mind. Okay. Is this the email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I categorized what's the assignment for each person, and could you scroll down a little? So I'm trying to balance it out. So this is an overview of that. But as we have noted in the supplemental report, the SVRIA that's under Councilmember Fruin, it seems to be rotated between cities, so we don't need an assignment for that. So that will be removed. And then for the Cities Association, although there are 3 committees, the Board of Directors, Selection Committee, and Legislative. The Selection Committee really meets once a month to just select the regional candidates, so it's not really committee. So even though it's 5 primaries under Councilmember Moore, it's more like 4, I think.
Pardon,
Yeah.
Mayor. Do you mean once a month or once a year?
Once a year, sorry.
Okay,
once a year.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that correction. So any comment from council members? Vice Mayor Moore?
Yes, I have a question. So would that mean that Councilmember Wong would be serving tomorrow if this passes on the Stevens Creek Vision Committee?
I believe that this will take effect immediately, but I know that you have committed, Vice Mayor Moore has committed to attend as the alternate from the last assignment, so I think you should keep that plan to attend.
Pardon, through the mayor, the city attorney, I think, I'm perfectly fine with Councilmember Wong attending, and it seems like my prior assignment will actually be gone once we vote on this list. So it really would be Councilmember Wong that would be assigned to it.
To the mayor, I believe Councilmember Wong's
Yeah.
light is on, if you'd like to recognize him.
Okay.
I
yeah.
will happily
So-
not attend, so Councilmember Moore can attend. Vice Mayor
So,
Moore can attend.
Vice Mayor Moore, you are still the alternate on that committee. And so Councilmember Wang will be the primary. Would you prefer to attend if this is adopted?
I would love to attend if adopted, but the challenge is I will not be here on tomorrow. That's why. So that's my challenge. So I believe, like on a logistical level, I think if you are the alternate Vice Mayor Moore, I believe you will be attending if you can make it. So.
Yeah, it's a last minute assignment. So would you please kindly attend?
Thank you, and I
Thank
do
you.
see that I've just made the alternate again.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for the last minute assignment. So I did take that into consideration when I made this assignment to make sure that at least we have someone for tomorrow's meeting. Yeah. So any other comment? Councilmember Mohan.
Yeah, my comment wasn't about the specific assignment, but I just wondered about the audit committee. Why do we have two council members on an audit committee?
That's in the municipal code.
I'm sure it's in the code. I just didn't understand the sort of rationale behind it. Does anyone know?
That may be a question for the city attorney.
I don't know the rationale offhand, Mayor, but that's something we could. Excuse me, Councilmember Mohan, but we could look into that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comment? Oh, public comment. Forgot. Thank you. So let's go to public comment.
Yes, Mayor, I have two requests to speak, one from Jennifer Griffin and one from Lisa Warren. Just a reminder, anyone wishing to provide comments on this item may submit a request to speak card in the next 9 minutes or use the raised hand feature virtually. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. I appreciate the discussion about who is going to go to represent Cupertino on the Stevens Creek Corridor Committee meeting tomorrow from 10 to 12, and I'm glad to see that I am assuming it will be Kitty Moore now. Okay. And I think that Cupertino needs to have a strong representation, as I have said before, because I think this is very critical. I'm pleased to see that we will have adequate representation. I wanted to make a comment about the Sister City Committee has two primaries. I know you all made a comment about why there were two primaries on audit, but Sister City appears to have two also, so maybe it's not that unusual. I don't know, it's probably in the code. And I just wanted to make a comment about the disaster committee. Is that what it's called?
Council.
Sorry?
Disaster Council.
Disaster Council, okay. Can we put tornadoes on there? I don't know what venue we would discuss that, but I mean, Scotts Valley was pretty well decimated. And if you weren't aware, there's a 200-unit housing complex that was okayed on December 6th by Scotts Valley City Council in that exact location where the tornado went down. So I'm going to throw that out there. I don't know if this is the correct venue for this, but I do think Scotts Valley is now asking why San Francisco was warned, but they were not. So we might throw that into the dossier. So thank you very much.
Mayor, yes, Lisa Warren. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I just want to say that I guess the word is agree, or I support the committee and commission assignments that are on the list for the most part, if not all part. So thank you. And thank you so much for doing this in a timely manner so we won't skip a beat on when meetings happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And Mayor, no additional requests to speak on this item.
Thank you, Kirsten. If appropriate, I think many people didn't know what disaster council, what's the purpose. Is it appropriate to mention a little is that a legal requirement to have that, and what kind of content should be in that meeting?
Yeah, so the Disaster Council it's legally required by the California Emergency Services Act, and their primary purpose of disaster councils is to develop and recommend emergency operations plans and policies, and to provide policy guidance regarding the response to disasters in a jurisdiction.
Thank you. Any more questions from council members? So one more comment I'd like to add is I think I have made a request last year is all the communications sent to the primary should be sent also to all the alternate on any of the assignment so that we have continuity in case someone needs to step in last minute. So I hope to make that part of the motion for this assignment.
Mr. Mayor, may I speak? I believe some of the committee assignments are assigned by the organization, so we're not able to make that commitment. For instance, I believe SVCE contact the assigned council member directly. So the city staff is not obligated, not obligated. We don't have the information to inform the alternate, but I think that's a great idea. Maybe the primary designated can also inform the alternate. It will be hard for city staff to track those notifications.
Can we provide the contact information and make a request for like SVCE to just add one more email to their contact? Is that possible?
Yes, I'm sure that's possible.
Yeah. So either the city staff or the primary can maybe communicate that.
Yes, Mayor, when staff sends the appointment list to the various agencies, they can certainly add a request to always include the alternate when communicating, or a copy of the alternate when communicating with the primary.
Yeah.
But as City Manager Wu said, we can't enforce that, but you can certainly let us know if if the alternates are not receiving communications. We can certainly follow up with the agencies to make
we can politely request. Yeah.
And may I make just one note that one change to your assignments list regarding the Silicon Valley Regional Interoperability Authority. You had signed a primary and an alternate. However, we received notification that the jurisdictions rotate every 2 years, and Cupertino actually served for 3 years, 2020 to 2022. So this year it will be another jurisdiction that is representing that.
I see that it's already crossed out in the table included in the supplemental report. Yes. I think the only difference from my assignment would be I assigned 2 primaries for the city sister city committee. So city attorney, am I allowed to do that, or is there any MUNI code or requirement to say it has to be only one?
The sister city committee is not codified in the municipal code.
So I can assign 2 primaries.
I'm not aware of any reason why you can't, but I have not looked at the sister city committee governing documents, so I'm not aware of any reason you can't at this point.
Great, thank you. So that's the only change that from the table that's shared in the supplemental report. So then, may I have a motion? Or maybe I just make the motion. Motion is to approve the table that's shared in the supplemental report, where the interoperative authority was already crossed out, and then there will be 2 primary for the sister city committee.
Second.
Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. So, item 6, city work program and capital improvement projects and program prioritization process. I'd like to thank the city manager for amending the agenda on Friday to add this item. And since it's added last minute, there won't be a staff presentation for the item. But we have, and also I'd like to thank the staff for posting an info memo to summarize the goal setting process and proposed some revision for the city work program prioritization process. Since this hasn't been reviewed by the council and we have new members, I thought it's appropriate for us to review the process and discuss if this is how we would like to proceed. And then also, I think the CIP, I feel usually we didn't see the CIP list until March. And then I find out some other cities have the CIP list already proposed from staff in December. So there is a longer process to consider, especially a lot of the CIP projects are pretty costly, sometimes multi-million-dollar project. So I think the process has really improved a lot over the years. For example, I pointed out the March 19th CIP agenda item. There was a 5-year plan, and also there, if you look at the agenda item, there are also attachment with a list of unfunded projects. So we have a broader picture of what projects are there when we consider how to prioritize. Anyone has questions? I guess we'll do 5-minute questions each if you have questions, and then we go to public comment. Vice Mayor Moore.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for providing this memo, and I've really appreciated watching this process improve over the past few years, and we've all come to an agreement that we've moved on to the 2-year process. When I look at page 3 of the November 14th informational memo, it says that for December 2024 that we would have the draft list of items provided to council, and then each council member will submit their top 5 projects. So to my understanding, that's where we are right now. Okay, and so when are you going to be wanting us to be reviewing these items to give us our top 5? What?
May I speak, Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, City
Thank
Manager.
you. We were in the process of sending out the email and the information, and after consulting with the mayor, we decided to hold off a little bit and to have today's discussion and see how we want to go forward.
And through the mayor, so you were putting together like the draft list of items. I'm not really sure where.
So we were hoping to send out the second info memo to outline the next step, which is to ask for a 5 priority list from each of the council member. And also, staff has been compiling a list of the city staff initiated work program item to combine with your list for you to consider during the retreat.
Okay.
That would have been the next step.
Okay, and I appreciate hearing that. One of the things that I've noticed is that sometimes what is kind of defined as a city work program item and some of the staff-initiated special projects. They seem to kind of overlap on some of the theming or maybe not, and then that becomes kind of a question for me, is like what's initiating some of those projects. I can understand the maintenance, roof maintenance, you need to change carpet and that kind of stuff, but sometimes there's other projects that are more like an initiative towards augmented reality or something like that, and they might connect with some of our work program items and sometimes not, and so I'd like to understand how that process works as well.
Sure. May I? So you brought up a good question. So there's some of the CIP or operational needs that may turn itself into a city work program. But what we have been tracking is more of a policy level discussion that we want to bring to council for consideration. For instance, Lehigh. The future of Lehigh, that is a huge city work program that has been weighing on my mind. And also the sign ordinance. I know that council has asked staff to look into updating the sign ordinance, but we're hoping to get more specifics, given that the sign ordinance is a big task. Maybe there are bite-sized update that we can do. So those are kind of city staff initiated. And some of them are coming also from the commissions. Over the years, we have heard from the commissioners. There are certain things that they would like to see be part of that list.
Okay, thank you. And again, through the mayor, we did have a couple of items get added on earlier this year, and I think that we need to make sure that we know when items got added, because we're really trying to move to the 2-year process. And I know that there's a huge list of special projects and the work program and CIP. So I know that there's a lot already in the pipeline. Right. So I want to make sure that we're not piling on things that just they're not feasible, know. So we need to be told, what are the limits for what we can add.
We certainly appreciate that. So the 2-year process we started 2 years ago, it's nowhere near perfect. So we are taking the lessons learned and making adjustments and making tweaks, and which is why we're hoping to come to you soon to bring you a list, and then also to bring you a comprehensive landscape of how we can accomplish. And Vice Mayor, you're right on the dot. Some of them, even though have a 2-year timeline, it takes a lot longer to get accomplished. So for instance, right now, as much as we are hoping to get the 2-year list done, certain items just going to continue to stay on the list. So we want to bring you a more comprehensive, sorry, I'm wasting your time, and bring you a comprehensive list of funding and staff hours, and also how long this will really be. And we're hoping to bring that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Wong.
I yield time to Vice Mayor Moore, should you have any more questions.
Councilmember Mohan.
I just wanted to know, when are we scheduling this for January? Do we have a date, or do we have a timeline?
Mary, would you like?
So I have requested potentially we will do a goal setting workshop on the 9th of January, which is the Thursday night on January.
So has that been confirmed? Did we get some information on that?
I'm waiting for it tonight.
Yeah, I think the staff doesn't have objection to the date. If it works with everyone, we could have a possible goal setting. But exactly what to do there, I think, depends on the outcome of this discussion. Would you be available at that time? On the 9th of January.
I'll confirm it a little later.
Yeah. Okay.
Mayor, I'm available on the 9th, so if you need that.
So, Vice Mayor Moore, would you be available on the 9th?
Yes.
Councilmember Fruin, would you be able to check your schedule?
Yeah, if you can give me a little bit here, I can check my professional schedule. My personal calendar appears to be clear.
So yeah, okay. Actually, I would like to take a 5-minute recess. If we can, I think everyone can check their schedule, and or should we hear public comment first and then come back for public comment? Why don't we hear public comment first, and then I hope to take 5 to 10 minutes recess.
Mayor, may I
before
ask one quick
discuss?
question?
Yeah.
So, and this is directed to to you as city manager and city attorney. Are we limited to just 5 items we can suggest on the work program, or is that?
That's the discussion today. We will decide the process.
Okay. All right. Good to
Yeah.
know. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, we go to public comment.
Mayor, I currently see no request to speak for this item.
Okay. Let's take a 10 minutes recess, then we come back.
Oh, I apologize. There is one. I do have a request to speak.
Okay.
Thank you. Jennifer Griffin has submitted a card.
I think that was the first one I put in, but then I had the wrong number for the other one. So no, I do want to speak on this one. I'm glad that you all are considering having a discussion on January 9th, I believe. I'm assuming the public will be able to come to that if it's here, to go through the work program. I just had a couple of comments. One of them was the issue of Lehigh Quarry and the reclamation. There have been a situation that has occurred where I believe the new residents that are at the corner in the townhouses of Stevens Creek Boulevard and Foothill Boulevard, the former, I forgot what the family was that was there, they're having issues with the amount of dust and noise that's going by. And I attended the Lehigh Quarry reclamation study. I forgot where that was. This was, I think, several months ago. And they're going to have to truck in so many truckfuls of fill for the quarry. And I am assuming that they're going to be going up that road next to these new townhouses that are there. Have we thought about the health ramifications of the quarry reclamation plan, and how do we do that? Where are these trucks going to be coming in and out off of the freeway? And we didn't have people living there, the Batey project. We didn't have people living on that corner right in the middle of the dust zone until just recently. And from what I understand, looking at the documents that were put up by Lehigh about how they want to fill the quarry, they need to be doing this for a number of years. How do we protect those people that are going to be living along that corridor so that they're not inhaling the dust? There's not going to be noise. Their children aren't going to be running out in the road and getting hit by trucks. I just don't think we've talked about that. The other one is I wanted to suggest an item, which is how do we preserve ground floor retail along Stevens Creek Boulevard? There are 4 SB 330s that are coming up now, which are talking about taking away ground floor retail. And I'm not opposed to having housing above, but we don't want to have a process of losing our accessible ground floor retail along Stevens Creek Boulevard. Can you all have a study item on that? Because that's very important for the Cupertino. Once we lose that ground floor, it's gone forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And now, Mayor, no additional requests to speak.
I'd like to keep the public hearing open so that after the 10-minute recess, if you have comment, you can still make it. The reason is the goal setting will be a public process. I like the way the previous council, actually before 2019, before I joined, they used to have goal setting on Friday night, continue to Saturday morning, involving the public to propose what they would like to see the city to take on, similar to the comment that Jennifer has made, and how the public would like to get engaged in this new process. So your comment will be appreciated.
Mayor, there actually is a hand raised virtually.
So let's hear that now, and then we take the recess.
Okay, so from San R. Welcome, San.
Good evening, Mayor Chow and council members. My feedback to council is to look at the inventory of CIP and CWP that you have right now. I feel like there are too many irons in the fire, and adding more to that just gives us an even longer list when we don't have the capacity to either fund or complete these or manage them. I would like to see council actually take items off the CIP and the CWP if there are things that are irons in the fire and things that are early stage or in progress. So I would like the council to deliberate on what is the state of the CIP right now, how much of that is actually funding that can be pulled, if any. And in particular, I think there has been historically a tendency to look at if there are grants to offset the cost of the project, it's a good thing to do. I implore the council to apply judgment based on your awareness of what your resident constituency wants to see. And if that item is impacting quality of life of residents, the presence of grant funding does not otherwise okay an item that impacts the quality of life. I specifically refer to the many, many projects that have caused lane reduction in right turns on red, elimination of street parking. And this has been, it almost feels like the city either exists to start consultant studies or to perform bike lane projects. And frankly, I talked to a few people, maybe a few hundreds, and nobody that I talked to really sees this as a net positive. I'm a safe routes to school rep myself, but nobody that I talk to wants to see kids riding bicycles on Vienza Boulevard. And it's just really concerning to me that despite all the feedback that we've given, this project just continues as if nobody really said anything. I would like you to not just look at new projects, but consider how you can cut out of the list so that you actually have funds to use and you have capacity both to manage and to allocate and to reduce the amount of work overall. We don't want to just keep piling more work on staff's plate. I'd also like you to see if there's consultant projects that have a clause to terminate contracts, to really look at how you can ruthlessly cut and cut deep on consultants. In the private industry, every year there's zero-based budgeting, where every year you start from zero. And I would encourage you to really look at scrutinizing budgets from a zero-based perspective to see where you can cut deep so that we have the funds to apply where residents have sought to. And I hope we will allocate to parklands. I'm particularly interested in the city looking at the parkland by Sedgwick that CFST has. They also have parkland Montebello Road.
Thank you, Sam. That is your time. Mayor, that was our final speaker for this item.
Thank you. So let's take a 10-minute recess. It's 8:28. We'll come back at 8:38. Let's reconvene the meeting. Do we have any more public comments? 8:40.
No, Mayor, we have no additional requests to speak.
Okay, thank you. So during the break, I had a conversation with the staff. So there are two options. I think before I joined the Cupertino Council in the past, the council usually has a goal-setting workshop where they didn't have a lot of information from staff, but it's a council member having an initial discussion on projects they would like to propose. So, and then community members also propose ideas. And then they will, from that meeting, there is a prioritized, some kind of initial prioritized list. Then in the next meeting will likely a study session. The staff will bring that list back with certain estimate of how much effort for each proposed idea. And then council member do a ranking prioritization of that list. And this year, I think, thanks the city manager has the idea that we can include early the staff's list in together with the council prioritization, because the staff's list in the before usually wasn't made available to the council or the community until later on, like in March. So I think having the staff project list available for our prioritization together will be really a good addition. But then my understanding is staff's list won't be available on the 9th of January. Since they now have a list, but then they are considering maybe adding some new proposed project for the list too. So I think we have two options. If we have a goal-setting workshop on the 9th, it will be like what has been done in the prior council, where we don't expect any list from the staff because we don't want the staff to be working over the holidays. But it will be an initial discussion between the council members on what we would like to propose. I like this compared with what's proposed in the info memo is what's currently on the, can we have a display on the info memo so the public can see? I hate that I didn't log into the meeting so I can share my screen. So the current proposed, the process in the info memo is all the council members propose their own list without ever having a discussion. Each one submit their individual list, but only limited to 5. And then have some kind of discussion only afterwards. So I don't really like this process that's proposed. I hope to have a discussion, hear from each other, as we can come to the meeting with a list, but I'd like to hear the rationale of other council members' proposal. Then we can together create a combined list. Then the staff can give us estimate for each project for that list. So that's option 1. And then another option is we don't have this initial discussion in early January, but likely we will have a discussion in later January. Then in that time, the staff will be able to provide a more detail of the staff proposal for work program and CIP list, and with likely an estimate for each of the staff list. But then at that time, the council will then, so that means the council will not be able to have a discussion on their list until late January. So I would like to hear some comments some thoughts from my fellow council members. Do we have an initial discussion and then propose, or we each propose individually without having a discussion? Yeah. Council Member Mohan. And then Council Member Wang.
So my initial thoughts are, you're saying that the council comes up with a list of projects without staff input, and the staff input will come later.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem that I foresee is that we would be spending a lot of time on maybe projects which we would like and which may not have any sort of practical or resources available.
Not exactly.
So we're sort of
the difference is we propose our list individually without consulting with anyone or staff. You have to submit a list.
Right. No, yeah, I see that. Only if we don't have staff input as to how much it costs, how much staff time it takes, are we spending a lot of time coming up with projects which just may not be feasible.
Okay, so thank you for the comment. Council member, do you have any more?
No, that's
Council member Wang and then Council member Fruin.
Mayor Chow, I actually think we can do both. What you can do on the 9th or any meeting that's going to be set up ahead of time is for council members to review the existing projects, determine which existing projects they're comfortable with, which ones they want to remove, and maybe propose some new projects along the way. I think that will then give staff some time to then come back and be able to figure out figure out something later when they propose their projects, and you can actually bring both of those together at the same time. I think it's helpful for staff to know what we're thinking earlier than later, which will give them some time, and then maybe we have the same projects that staff's interested in as well. And so I think you can facilitate that process, but it's better to have the meeting earlier, in my opinion, than later, because these are significant this is significant dollar amounts that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Council member Fruin.
So I actually think one of the problems that we have here is that I really don't want to see council members having to duplicate what staff are going to put forward anyway. That was, I think, an issue in the last round that we went through, and it's helpful to have the input ahead of time from staff on what projects they would like to see us move forward with, so that we can make certain that what we're offering is something unique and new and not duplicative. So that's where I would come down on this. I don't really think that we need to go through a lot of additional process before that. I think it's more helpful to have it on the back end. And it gives staff more time to prepare so that we can have a useful and productive discussion.
Thank you, Council member, Vice Mayor Moore.
Thank you. So I would like to have, in however this process goes, more information about how we are able to remove items, and if staff could make some recommendation for removal or reordering either the special projects, the city work program, or the CIP lists, if you already have identified things that aren't moving ahead. I'd like to have that information. I actually like the process, which is already in the informational memo. One concern I have is that if each council member is submitting their top 5, you're ending up with a list of 25 new projects potentially. So I do want to see what this draft list is before making a suggestion, and that we need information so that we are not creating a list that's so wildly aspirational that it's never going to happen, or only a small amount will happen, and then next year we're going to be looking at things that the staff simply can't get to. And I would like to see this community satisfaction survey information and see what kind of guidance that's going to provide.
Mayor, may I add a comment?
Sure.
Just to kind of give council an idea of some of the quote-unquote staff-initiated lists, some of them are operationally connected. Some of them actually came up during the TBD discussions throughout the year. For instance, what we're tracking right now is updating city's impact fees, city treasurer's review, financial investment cash flow policy review, general plan community meetings, engagement, Lehigh, public again, public engagement strategy. So those are things that have happened during the TBD discussion that we're calling it staff initiated, but it's really we've been tracking them. We would like to present those to council with a more comprehensive look to see how much staff time, funding, and maybe that will help to come back with a more holistic list. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And the reason that I would like to have a discussion early is I think the council member configuration has changed after the election. So if the staff doesn't hear from the new council members and then the community about their priorities, how the staff wouldn't be able to propose project that's likely following the. So I'm trying to do it early so that the council and the city staff are more in line in our goal, and then we don't have that ability to have that discussion if the city staff comes to a meeting with an already proposed list. So that, and then if each individual member work on their own list. That's why I hope to have an early discussion of more of a goal setting between the council members. I think we have seen some changes in the past 2 years. And we tried some new things. Some we think that works, some we don't think that works. We want to roll it back. And this may not be covered by top 5 project. But then I hope to have a discussion on, for next 2 years, what kind of things we would like to see. And also, when city staff process projects, what we would like to see as residents would expect for the city staff to. So we need the council to set a direction for the staff to follow. So that's the intent of having an early discussion, so we have an opportunity to set the stage. Here is what we would like to see for the city for the next 2 years. It's more like a setting a tone and direction for the city staff and with the public input. So I would still appreciate that initial discussion with my fellow council members earlier in January. Then maybe later in January we could have more information from the staff on staff proposed projects. Then we will see whether we will have a follow-up study session on that together with any ideas from that initial discussion. So I hope that I get so I'd like to make a motion for this initial goal setting on the 9th of January at 6 o'clock, where I would not expect the council members to submit that list. I think initially city manager was envisioning council members would submit a list by the end of this week. The staff would collect. I think the council members can come submit that list in January. That way, so I expect it will be minimum staff work, but it will be an initial council discussion on our priorities. So council member can propose what you would like the city to move towards in the next 2 years.
Mayor, point of question, a question for you. So you want us to walk in with a list of potential projects and ideas after we've reviewed the existing list that's there as well, and think about new, existing, or maybe potential projects?
Yeah. Okay. Vice Mayor Moore.
I'm not sure what the difference that you're proposing from the December timeline is. I know you're calling it goal setting, but it seems almost like we would be essentially seeing the draft list that staff prepared. We would come up with our own 5, or we could borrow them, use what's on the draft list, or like they're saying, either identify items from the draft list or propose new ones. And by the way, I thought staff already launched the community satisfaction survey. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, can we see that table from the info memo?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I had thank the staff. In October, there are already info memo provided on the October section. For December, I'm actually confused. It seems there should be a draft list of items already provided to the council in December. So do we already have that list?
Mayor, you asked me to hold off not sharing that with the council because you want to talk about this process.
I didn't know there is a list.
Okay.
I proposed to talk about this process because this is a process the council have never seen. It was only made available in an info memo. So there was a list that will be provided to the council. So this list could be made available right now?
Well, as this table says that we're drafting the list. The list will be made available to you. We're hoping in February as a comprehensive list, including all of your priorities.
So the current proposal is for each council member to submit their top 5 without talking to each other and just identify items from the draft list. So that means we should have the draft list before we propose the council top 5?
If I may, so we're drafting the items that we've been tracking and initiating independently from council member working on 5. And reason for 5 is 5 times 5, that's 25 projects. We believe that is actually a pretty large list of projects to complete in 2 years. If you remember, I think the first time we actually came down to 3 projects only. So I wouldn't necessarily say that you're not allowed to talk to one another. You can certainly start discussing, but we're asking for 5 so that we will get that list from you back. In January, we can develop that list to add staff hours and what category. And also we want to make sure that not one department is heavy loaded with all the projects. For instance, I believe a couple years ago, CDD was heavily hit with a lot of heavy project on top of their daily operation. So we would like to have that opportunity to review the list and realistically with the current staffing level to support the city work program. And so that was the original thinking to come back in February to propose that to you.
So we are in the second meeting of December. And this is the first time I think the council has seen this proposal. Actually, we never had a discussion about this. So.
And you mentioned that this info memo was sent to you in October.
I think it was in a November info memo. I didn't notice this until I asked about the council goal setting process, then I was informed there was already a memo. But this memo wasn't sent directly to the council. It was posted on the website.
My apology. All of the memos were sent to council, but we'll make sure that it's sent to council in the future.
I think we really should have had a discussion. So now we are in second meeting of December. We don't have a list, but then according to this memo, the council should have that list from the staff before proposing top 5 project, and then the staff will launch community survey. I'm very confused. Oh, sorry, did you already? Oh, Councilmember Mohan.
And my suggestion was that if we could get a draft list of the items from staff in sometime in December, and then we would deliberate upon it, and we would come back maybe the first meeting, or the only meeting in January. I think there's only one meeting in January. Come back there with our list and combine, make it an agenda item or a study session where we can discuss it with the public at the January 17th meeting, and then it goes back to staff, and then once we've determined our top priorities, the staff sort of puts a dollar amount and other resources that they would need, come back to us, and we finalize it the first week of February, the first meeting of February.
Okay, Vice Mayor Moore.
Okay, I'm interested in what Councilmember Mohan is saying there. I'm wondering if we could, after we receive the draft list, if we could have a date for us to turn in our top 5 projects of January 10th, which is the Friday of that week that you were trying to get that the Thursday, the 9th meeting scheduled. And then so we turn them in on the 10th, and then at some point there we do need to do the council goal setting and the work program workshop prep. And perhaps the city manager could explain what the January 2025 item was about, because it doesn't look like that's a council activity, but there you are preparing for some kind of a workshop there. If you could explain how that is planned to go.
Sure. May I?
Yeah.
Okay. So my apology that we're a little behind on the December deadline. We were hoping to issue the list last week, and it got carried away. So we could go ahead and get that draft list probably by this Friday, the latest, to council, if that's still council's desire. And if we can get council's list by the first week of January, we can start compiling them. I think what we're envisioning in January, conduct a council prep session. That's a prep session to inform council what the list that we have received so far. If council remembers, I've started something called the council prep session this year, is to give you an early alert of what the item is about, and also give an opportunity to have a more casual discussion with staff the Friday before the council meeting. So what we're hoping is that Friday before whenever the council retreat is going to be held, we can sit down with you at length and go through each of the item and who proposed it, how much, and how that fit into the total landscape. So I think that's what the January timeframe is calling for. And since we're talking about the January timeframe, just want to put in a couple other limitations. January and February is usually our busiest month of the year. So our first meeting is scheduled for the 22nd of January. The League of the City of California conference is scheduled on the same day through that Friday. And I understand from the clerk's office that we're also holding our commissioner interviews on the 27th and 28th. January 29th is a Chinese Lunar New Year holiday. We're also holding the 30th for the third day the commissioner interview, just in case that we can't get through. And then come into February, that's why we were hoping for early February retreat day, perhaps the first Saturday or some other time, that was the thinking behind the timeline. Thank you.
Okay. So any other thoughts, comments?
It's the 23rd.
Okay, so sounds like we are going with the staff's proposal. We will get a list from the staff this week, and then the council will propose their I wouldn't say just top 5. I would like to say, because there might be a lot of overlap, and it couldn't be just 25 different. I would like to see everyone propose top 5, and then just you have 10 lists, 10 projects, and top 5, but some additional ones. Then that will be proposed by the second week of January, by the 10th.
Point of clarification, are these in addition to the current city work program or completely new 10 projects?
I think it's just a list to start a discussion, yeah. So we have a list to prioritize. And then I think people have mentioned there might be existing projects we want to remove. So do we need a list of existing special projects that, should the council also submit so do we need any kind of list from staff besides the draft, the new list, new items?
Through the mayor, if I may, we also have a list of what's going on, ongoing
projects.
So, for instance, tree list, residential mixed-use residential design standard, the sign ordinance, active transportation plan, and bicycle facility. These are ongoing, and they will certainly go beyond the 2-year frame.
Yeah. So maybe if we can have a draft list and also list of ongoing projects. I think we have also some old funded project. Do we have old funded project but not really ongoing?
Are you asking for a CIP? I mean, this is only the city work program list.
CIP, yeah.
So you would like to see the CIP?
If we can have a CIP list also, yeah.
And would you like to have, for the council priority is the city work program and CIP?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is slightly different than what has been done in the past. With CIP, they're usually on a 5-year horizon. Usually it takes at least 5 years to plan a CIP, to carry out the design, and to implement. City work program, we try to keep it at about a year or 2. So their time frame are slightly different. And CIP also are funded differently.
Yeah.
So if there are active grants
But
available.
the staff is planning to propose new CIP items this year too, right?
We have a current CIP list that will be before council for the budget discussion. We can certainly elevate that conversation earlier. If I were to make a recommendation, I would separate the conversation, CIP versus city work program.
Okay. Council Member Wong?
Yeah, I just have quick questions as the junior council member here. When does the CIP process begin, and how much time is allocated to staff for CIP versus CWP? Can I ask that to the city manager?
So typically the CIP starts in March, and we'll bring a discussion to you about early April, the latest, as part of the initiation of the budget conversation. CIP, I want to say, I'm looking at my public works director who's behind the line of sight. There we go. So I want to say the amount of time is roughly 60 to 70% on CIP. City work program is roughly 20-ish. at the most percent.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get a nod from you, Chad? That sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So last year, I think there were also some items proposed by commissions that was added in the mid-year of the 2-year plan. In the mid of the 2-year plan, there were, I remember, kind of 9 projects were proposed. So are we expecting commissioners will be proposing more items?
We are not right now planning to go to each of the commission actively soliciting for additional feedbacks. I think the commissions were given a list last year to pick from the list of the existing city work program that were not made the priority to prioritize them. We have done the community survey result. Based on the community survey result, we can propose additional projects to council for consideration.
So if we each submit the list, when would we do the community satisfaction survey? What would the survey look like?
It's been done already. We're compiling
So
the result.
Oh, okay, so that's a separate process.
That will be part of the list, which is why we're hoping to draft the staff list to you. But we can certainly expedite that and have that to you by Friday.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Councilmember Wong.
Mayor, I would propose like we have a motion that would then say something like review the existing list of CIP programs to date, propose new and existing top 10, and submit by January 10th to the city manager, and then consider projects for removal as well. That will get you started. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that motion. It's not a motion being made, it's just a deliberate conversation about what the motion could look like.
Through the mayor,
Vice Mayor Bull.
Do you mean the CIP list or the CWP?
CWP, I apologize.
Okay.
CWP.
Okay.
My bad here. So.
Okay, so because that threw me off, could you repeat your motion?
The proposal, but not a motion, but the deliberation on a proposal for a motion is review the existing list of CWP programs to date, which staff will provide sometime in the month of December. Propose a new and existing top 10. So new and existing top 10 that you'd look at and submit by January 10th, and consider projects for removal as well, CWP projects for removal. I think those are 3 main items that we're looking at.
So the clarification, so the list from staff is existing CWP and the staff proposed draft list.
Oh, if there's a draft list,
so the list
that's great.
from staff also is existing and new.
And staff draft list, okay. So I'll repeat that so it's read again. Review the existing list of CW programs to date and staff's draft list. Council members will propose a new and existing top 10 and submit by January 10th to city manager. And council members will also consider CWP projects for removal as well. And if staff has suggestions, that would be great too. So.
Then what happens after the 10th? So we will.
I don't know when your next meeting is, so you want to schedule your next meeting.
So I think Councilmember Mohan suggests that on the January 17th we maybe have a study session on this. I think that's a good idea.
Is that a Friday, January 17th, or are you looking at the 16th?
January 21st, 22nd.
No,
sorry.
Yeah, whenever the first meeting is.
Wait, 22nd is the first, not 21st?
I believe you had a conflict on the 22nd for League of Cities.
It's the 22nd, which is the first council meeting in
Unless
January.
you want to call a special meeting on the 16th.
So 20th is a holiday?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay.
So 22nd is the first meeting?
Yes.
But who is going to the League of Cities? So
League of Cities and new mayor.
Through the mayor, I see it on my calendar.
But are you going?
Apparently.
Vice Mayor, so you are going on Councilmember Mohan?
Yeah, I have it on my calendar as well.
Okay.
We can, through the mayor, we can teleconference from there.
Yeah, actually last time, the entire Saratoga Council, I think, teleconferenced from the League of City Conference on a Thursday night.
Could work too.
But do we need to have a quorum in person?
I'm not sure that the entire council can teleconference from outside the jurisdiction.
So I was planning to go on the 23rd morning, if I did go.
Oh, okay.
I will not be here the week of the 20th. I'm at the World Economic Forum.
So week of the 20th, but you can...
I can teleconference in.
Teleconference in
Yes.
on the 22nd.
So, yeah.
But then we won't have enough people in quorum.
You could potentially move it to the 16th if you were doing that before. So, but I don't know if any other people can make that.
Just a reminder, this is a regular council meeting.
Yeah, we just approved the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we just approved the calendar, but then I think I didn't know people are attending the
I think we'll have an in-person quorum on the 22nd.
No, I
I
think
will be in.
You and then who else?
only
Vice Mayor
Council
Moore.
Member Fruin, are you going to be attending the conference
So yes, but I would expect to be here for the 22nd.
on the 22nd?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I
so,
will be there too.
Okay, so we will have a quorum in person on the 22nd.
Right.
Okay, good.
Mayor, I count. Will you will be here in person on the 22nd?
I will be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you
I'm
for the
not planning
clarification.
to attend the meeting. Yeah, thank you for checking. So we could have the study session based on the list proposed. So we can have an initial goal setting that day.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And so staff, city manager, do you have enough information?
Just if I can summarize, so the council is hoping to have a study session on the list of the staff prepared city work program, in addition to up to 10 projects from each of the council member for a comprehensive list, and we'll come back with additional information to guide you to decide on the next 2-year city work program. But you will not be doing that on the 17th. You'll be looking at another date in February
On
to
the
do that.
22nd is a study session.
So you will not be making a decision for the city work program on the 22nd.
I think 22nd will be a study session.
Okay.
So and then would the city staff have enough time to provide information on those proposed projects? Probably not.
Well,
right?
if we were to get the list from council by the 10th, we will try
Then-
our best.
Okay.
We will try our best. And these are a city work program, not CIP projects.
Yeah, city work program. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, let me reread this then for you.
Then if for the CIP project, if we can have the proposed list earlier than March, is it possible?
How early would you like? Before, if I could just make another comment. Right now, our CIP reserve fund and our CIP fund is low. We're also, per council's direction, bring the allocation plan back for a study session. There are actually a number of study sessions already in the pipeline for you to make several considerations. So for right now, we have the allocation plan coming back in January as a study session. So this will be a second study session item.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, may I just read what we've kind of agreed to so that everybody is on the same page?
Okay.
Review the existing list of CWP programs to date and staff draft list. Council will propose a new and existing top 10 and submit by January 10th. Consider CWP projects for removal as well for both staff and council. Council will set up a study session for January 22nd at the regular meeting, and city work programs will be made at a time in a meeting in February.
Yeah. So that's a goal. I think we will need to work out the schedule for that 22nd meeting. Do we need to vote on this, or is
We have to
it
make a motion. I just want to make sure we're on the same
direction?
page.
I would appreciate if a vote can take
Motion.
place.
Okay.
Okay, so minor correction, it's a special meeting on the 22nd, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, you said regular, so we'll just.
It's a special meeting.
Yep.
was not a-
move to a
As
Wednesday.
long
Because
as
it's
it's
not a
not
Tuesday.
It's not a
Yeah,
Tuesday.
I misspoke.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
I will make a motion then, based on what we discussed. Anyone want to add anything else? Councilmember Fruin? Or anything? Okay, so it's a motion to review the existing list of CWP programs to date and staff draft lists. Council will propose a new and existing top 10 and submit by January 10th. Council and staff will consider CWP projects for removal as well, and council will set up a study session for the special meeting on January 22nd, and city work programs will be made at a time in a meeting in February. That is the motion.
Through the mayor, Moore, second.
Thank you. Any more comment? Then let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so much. So we have, do I have a city manager report?
I don't, sorry, Mayor.
Thank you. And then we don't have any more oral communication. And then council member reports. Sorry, I didn't submit a report yet. So I will include that next time. And then future agenda items. I'd like to mention that I have spoken to city attorney that we will be bringing a revision of the council procedures manual on the 22nd also. Then if anyone would like to provide input to that revision, please submit that to send your comments to all the council members. So all the council members can submit what you would like to be revised to the city attorney as input. And city attorney will, would you like to speak on whether it will be a study session or not?
Yeah, so the mayor has requested a future agenda item on this topic. So I just based on the input I get from council and just the extent of the changes, it may make sense to just bring those changes conceptually to council as a study session. If the changes are relatively limited, then I would just intend to bring back revisions to the rules. But I'll provide an update after that, after I get more information from council.
Thank you. And then I would like to propose two future agenda items is to reactivate Legislative Review Committee and Economic Development Committee. I will still need to work with the staff on the scope of work that's needed to bring it back. And then we have received a request also to restore the responsibility of Audit Committee, which I hope is a more minor change since we are likely just restoring the previous responsibility of Audit Committee. So these are future agenda items. Although I'm the mayor, I could have added them later, but for transparency, I still would like to announce them here. So anyone else has anything to add? Councilmember Wang.
Yeah, I'd like to make a proposal that the transportation projects fall under the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. And I would love to get an EOC report update to see where we are on that. And then at some point in time, I'd like to review the architectural standards for 5G towers. And given the number of individuals that showed up from 20865 McClellan Road, maybe there's something we can do to help them understand the process and also help them understand what possibilities there are to move density, if possible, around, or what their options may be.
So per our procedure, we will need a second to add to the future agenda. Anyone would like to second the proposal? Vice Mayor Moore.
With regards to McClellan Road, with the options, is that something that could be handled in an informational memo by the city attorney?
It might be a confidential memo, but yes.
Okay. And then I'm not really sure what the ask is regarding the EOC.
I wanted an update on our EOC status at the moment, since we've seen the tornadoes through Scotts Valley. We're prone to earthquakes. We've got flooding coming through. I want to understand how we are doing in terms of the enterprise, in terms of the Emergency Operations Center, given that we don't have a functioning one in the City Hall at the moment. I just wanted to know if we had an update as to where we are.
Okay, that might be something that could be an informational memo to the council. Okay.
Okay, if that saves time, I'll take that off the list for future agenda items and leave it as an informational memo request.
So the intention is the current EOC situation.
Situation and status.
Mm. So we have a second for the EOC update and the second for the options for the McClellan project, which might be an confidential memo. And the other two items you have proposed is the adding transportation project to Planning Commission?
Yes, they should come across the Planning Commission. Yes.
I would second that, and also any land reduction should go through Planning Commission to consider a mini code change. And the other item is architectural standards for 5G tower.
Going through Planning Commission?
That would also go through Planning Commission.
Okay.
So I'll second that. So I'm a little confused. Are these part of the top 10 or not?
They're not part of the top 10.
So they are not part of the
They're
top 10.
not part of the top 10.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I asked.
Thank you. And any other comment or proposals?
So from that list, then
Councilmember Mohan, yeah.
sorry. From that list, then we are taking 2 items off the future agenda list because they will be informational memos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Actually, if I would like to request info memo on the notification method. I think this question keep coming up. If we could have a memo on the current notification method for citywide project or individual project, that might be helpful. We can refer to.
So I believe one was done recently, in about a month or so ago, per council's direction. We can recirculate that.
Right, okay. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
So Mayor, I'm keeping score, so future agenda items. Did you need seconds for the following? Council Procedures Manual to revise, reactivate the ledge review committee?
I don't need a second.
So it's just the 3 that I have? Okay, okay, good. You have mayor's prerogative. All right, so the 3 are subcommittee for, the other one's subcommittee for environmental committee for planning, transportation projects for the Planning Commission, and lane reduction should go through the Planning Commission, and architectural standards for 5G tower.
Yeah.
Sorry, I added one there.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor, for reminding me. Happy birthday, Ray. Today is your birthday?
Yes, it is, actually. So, yes.
Oh, right. Wow, happy birthday.
Well,
and then I'd like to say everyone happy holidays, and have a great new year. We will see you in the new year. And I hope all the staff enjoy your vacation. Although we try to do a lot, and we really don't want to take away your time to spend with your family. So I think we worked it out. So thank you. We really, really appreciate all your efforts to making Cupertino better. Yeah. So it's 9:30. The meeting is concluded in 9:30. Adjourned. Meeting is adjourned. Good time.
Excellent.